Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Bus Taste Challenge. We have two blended Scotch whiskeys with no age statement. This is Grant's, introduced in 1887, Grant's Triple Wood, formerly known as Family Reserve. I don't know why they called it Family Reserve, because it wasn't reserved for the family. Anybody could buy it. Maybe they realized it didn't make a whole lot of sense. So they changed it to Triple Wood because it receives exposure and treatment to 3 different wood types. These are both 80 proof. I haven't been too impressed with Grant's. In fact, it hasn't won a single contest. It only tied once. It tied one taste challenge because I got it mixed up with another one. I couldn't tell them apart. I got it confused. But all the rest, it's been a clear-cut loser. And I'm sorry, I don't have any kind of special animosity towards it. I don't have any kind of like hidden agenda that I'm trying to tear it down. I don't ever approach anything like that. I'm just telling you the way it's coming out. It's the way it's working. Here's the red. It's a metal cap too. They both have nice metal caps. The red cap, rare J&B, Just Iranian Brooks Rare. They call it. Well, I don't know what's rare about it. You can buy it at Walmart and have the other stores. It has a royal warrant. Just Iranian Brooks, official purveyors of liquor to the royal household. Blended Scotch whiskey. Now it says established 1749. Don't be fooled. That's when the company was founded as a wine purveyor. Just Iranian Brooks still does that. They mainly buy and sell wine. They're like brokers, wine brokers and liquor. They decided in about 1934 at the end of Prohibition to bring in Scotch. So they got some company to make it for them. That's still the case today. J&B doesn't have their own distillery or anything. Just Iranian Brooks simply procures it. Nothing wrong with that because it's a common practice. It's their recipe. They use 42 different Scotch whiskeys in it. And they talk about all the, Vanessa Kitty says hi. Hi, Vanessa Kitty. Thanks for watching my channel here in the early dark morning hours, but the sun is coming up. A blend of the finest old Scotch whiskeys, Just Iranian Brooks. This will run you about $20 a bottle, but I got mine for $18.99 at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits in Florida on US Highway 92. 92 is the lowest number for United States highways. And it only goes from one side of Florida to the other. There's nowhere else for it to go, right? Gulf of Mexico and Atlantic Ocean. Highway 90 runs across from Jacksonville Beach, Florida, all the way to the Mexican border, nearly to El Paso. It stops there because it runs out of, it can't go anywhere else unless it ran into Mexico, and they wouldn't build it to go into Mexico. They just stop it at the junction with Interstate 10. Anyway, it says appointment to their majesties, King George III, King George IV, King William IV, Queen Victoria. They don't say the first because it was never a second. There's no need to put the first. Edward VII, King Edward VII, King George V, King George VI, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Well, they just say Her Majesty the Queen. And then it says, and to his late Royal Highness Prince of Wales, 1921 and 1936, the Prince of Wales. They don't say Edward VIII. They just say the Prince of Wales. Well, it's kind of an embarrassment. That was the king that was forced out in 1936. He didn't even last a year. He only was king for 1 year, less than a year, 1936. Started and finished. But that's another story. But anyway, I like how they put it like that. He did it to himself. He may have been mentally deranged from World War I, actually. I get the feeling he might have had some kind of stress disorder. Because he served in the First World War, not on the front lines, but he wanted to be on the front lines. And they say no, because if you get captured by the Germans, that'll be a major fiasco. It will be so much to get you back. You're the heir to the throne, and it just wouldn't work. And he was very upset about that. But anyway, that's another story. Edward VIII. He was a strange, strange person. The British royal family tend to be a bit strange, I find. You say, well, maybe you're strange. You're strange. I would say it's eccentric. I mean, most people don't wake up and then do a 5:30 a.m. taste challenge. I guess you could call that strange. It's eccentric. People doing video reviews. I don't know if that's really strange anymore. People want to do it. You can watch it, don't watch it. It's not a big deal, really. People act like it is. Good morning, Ron. Good morning to you, Max Walt from the Russian Federation. Vanessa said, I drove Route 92 from Texas to Pensacola. No, there's no Route 92 from Texas to Pensacola through 3 hurricane evacuation zones. One of those, I did not know they called for evacuation. Yeah, maybe 90. 90 runs from Texas to Pensacola. 90 runs from, goes San Antonio, Houston, Beaumont, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana. Then it dips down to Morgan City, Louisiana, back up to New Orleans, Mississippi Gulf Coast, Mobile, Alabama, Pensacola, Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, and then ending at the Atlantic Ocean. Can't go any further. There's no land. To insomniacs like me, the time of event does not matter. It probably 90 then. Yeah, it had to be 90, yeah. Now, there is a 98. I said 92 is the lowest. I forgot about 98. They actually crisscross. 98 starts in Natchez, Mississippi. It's the lowest. There's no 100, no U.S. Highway 100. Forgot about 98. 98 goes from Natchez, Mississippi. Then it dips down to Mobile, goes down through Pensacola, and along the Florida Gulf Coast. You've probably seen Destin, Florida, Panama City Beach, Florida. Does that. Then it goes down along the Gulf Coast. There's all kind of resort towns down there. You see people heading out to the Gulf in their boats. A lot of beaches, and then it cuts across the middle of Florida, and then it ends, I think, at Palm Beach, Florida, West Palm Beach, something like that. You say, wow, I thought it was a taste challenge with whiskey, not a Roadology video. Yeah, well, I mean, we're just mentioning it. All right. But the actual lowest one is Highway 1. But it's a north-south highway. It's lowest because it starts at the top of Maine, Fort Kent, Maine, the very top of Maine on the Canadian border. And it goes down, snaking along the Atlantic coast all the way, and then along the islands, the Florida Keys, and ends at the courthouse in Key West, Florida. Like literally the street in front of the courthouse, there's a sign. It says end of 1. And a lot of people go take their photo there. You see a lot of tourists taking their photo in front of the sign because it's one of the longest highways in the world. And it ends right there. And then, people want to go do that. And then they want to go to the southernmost point at Key West with that big weight, whatever that thing is, and take photos. And then they claim at night you can see the lights from Havana. But it's probably a myth. 90 miles away. I checked the map. It was 90. Yeah. Not Interstate 90, but U.S. Highway 90. Well, those are interstate highways, but of the old type. Whiskey and Roadology, both good subjects. Yeah. I have some old maps from the 1930s, and they say interstate highways. They were interstate because they went from state to state. But then, remember, in 1956, they started the modern interstate highway system. The national system of interstate and defense highways, with the red, white, and blue sign. They call it the Eisenhower system because he started it. But actually, he didn't really start it. It was actually Roosevelt who started in 1944. The Congress passed the interstate highway system in 1944. But they didn't really do much with it. They built a few roads, like, I mean, just nothing. They had the Pennsylvania Turnpike and the New York Thruway they started working on. They didn't really fund it. It just kind of like was more like it was like in hibernation. It didn't. And then in 1956, they said, look, we got to get this going. You know, it's been 12 years, nothing happening. And so that's when they really started to fund it. And they came up with that. But it really goes back to 1944. But Eisenhower gets the credit because that's when they really got going in earnest. But you can actually show, I can prove that it was 1944. You say, I don't care. Now, the J&B is lighter. I got to be careful not to look because the J&B is much lighter and has a little green tint to it. Grant's is just straight up gold. I think J&B is going to murder it. I hate to use those kind of terms, you know, in a figurative sense, because, you know, whiskey is liquid and it can't really murder it. They can't murder each other because they're not alive. And it's a figure. You say, well, why are you explaining that to me? Everybody knows that's figurative speech. Sometimes people are thick-headed, though. Like with the Bible, you know, a lot of people have trouble with literal versus figurative. I'm not saying you shouldn't take the Bible literally. You should, if it's meant the parts that are literally true, the parts that are figuratively true, okay, you take in a figurative sense. But anyway, take some intelligence, you know. All right. That smells kind of grainy, harsh, not too great, not terrible. Now remember, J&B uses 42 different whiskeys. I think Cutty Sark, Cutty Sark, would they say use 30? I don't know. Grant doesn't mention it. Grant's doesn't mention it, to my recollection. This smells a little less harsh, like I'm picking up some bready single malt. I went to this new Total Wine and More yesterday. It's like a huge warehouse of beer, wine, and liquor. It was fine. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be successful in Louisiana, though, because every grocery store and convenience store sells beer, wine, and liquor practically. So there's no real reason to drive and park and go into this big beer, wine, and liquor store to buy stuff that you could just buy at the grocery store while you're shopping for other groceries. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not like their prices are any cheaper. They have a wider selection, but a lot of it is stuff that's like private label made for Total Wine by the big liquor companies, wine companies. And in Louisiana, people are very brand conscious. So they just probably won't buy private labels in a large sense. I mean, they might. I don't know. I don't know if is that place going to be around in 10 years? It makes you wonder. It just opened this month. Okay, so the Aroma is hard to pin down, but Grant's never failed so much in the Aroma. It flopped in the taste. It is a taste challenge after all, isn't it? So away we go. Oops, US Route 90. Yes, interstate routes are the ones just prior to interstate. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. 1926, they started the United Highway System, and then 30 years later, the modern interstate highway system. That's right. Of course, a lot of the U.S. highways have been upgraded to interstate quality, you know what I'm saying, with the on-ramp, exit ramps, controlled access. You can't just get off and on. You know, that kind of thing. In other cases, they're just little two-lane highways rambling along the countryside. I'm picking up smoke. Well, if I'm picking up smoke, then it's got to be J&B. And a little peat and a little mild and mellowness. You know why I'm saying that? Because the Grants has no smoke. Doesn't have peat. What are you getting the flavor? Harsh, abrasive, unappealing cereal grains. Grain alcohol. I'm sorry, that's what I'm detecting, but I haven't even tasted it yet. I'm already know which is which, but oh man, here we go. Huh. Doesn't taste as bad today. Now, I've said this before. I preached this sermon. I'm not a minister, a minister of malt. I preached this sermon, you know. When you drink a whiskey, you say, oh, it's terrible. But if you put it up against whiskey A, it'll taste different than if you combat it against whiskey B or C or D. They'll taste different in different settings. And I don't know why that is, but it's the case that they gave me. See, so today, it's like the J&B mellows out the the Grants. It's just not that abrasive, screaming ego harshness. So there's your answer. If you're going to drink Grants, don't drink it alone. Pair it with J&B, and it'll be tolerable. You say, well, I could just mix it with ingredients and make an old-fashioned or whatever. Or you could do that. Or you could just not buy it, buy something else. Woo! Oh, how sweet it is. Oh, it has a little smokiness. The skipper too. The millionaire. All right. This one is like Buffy and Jody and Mr. French and Uncle Bill and Sissy, and you know what I'm saying. Mrs. Beasley. It's a family affair. It is, because it's Grants and it's owned by the Grants family, people like us. Somebody groovy. I need somebody to move. All right. Cass Elliott loved to eat Miss Freshley's like honey buns, and she'd ship them in, man, by the case to California. She ate too many. She talked about that. Yeah, she said, I got to bring in Miss Freshley, man. You say Cass Elliott, huh? Yeah, you know, Naomi Cohen. That's a real name, Naomi Cohen. Yeah, from a priestly family, a family of Aaronite priests, at least in a lineage sense of the word, right? All right, but operator. Okay, now this is J&B, clearly, and this is Grants, clearly. But I gotta say, Grants is not as harsh as it has been in the past. I ain't gonna sit up here talking about how lovely it is, like lovely Rita Meter made, but it's you know, it's okay today. But the J&B is clearly better. And the price is only a little bit more. You paying what? Oh, but $4 more a bottle. And you're getting about $12 better whiskey, if not more. If not more. Gonna try for the kingdom if I can. Because a great big clip per ship. Kim Fife says, good morning at Ron, Ontario. Good morning to you. Have made a decision. Now, here we go. Go. I'm going to say it's J and B. Now it's the time for the reveal, the great reveal. Here we go. This is J and B, and here we go with the show. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. It is J and B. Zeb Walton. It is J and B. Martha Corinne. It is J and B. Ike and Cora Beth. Call the Baldwin sisters. Call Boone Walton. This is the recipe that's winning. Now, I'm going to go to Boatwright College. You did what? You sold the typewriter at a flea market. Why'd you do that? You know, he was so angry. I'd have been mad too. You borrow somebody's typewriter and then your sister goes and sells it. But then you get it back. But anyway, you know, I would be upset. Man, I would just sit up in my bedroom. I'd write all the time on those Big Chief writing tablets. I used to buy those. Well, I say I bought them, meaning my mother bought them. But that old grain looked like, the paper looked like bark. It was so like rough cut processed paper. It looked like it was made from bark. Big Chief. You say, oh, Big Chief. You can't call it that now. That's an appropriation of culture. Yes, all our Marxist-Leninist friends would take offense to that. If they knew what was in my mind, they would take great offense to it. But anyway, well, Grants, Lou Grant, hello, Lou. It didn't do so bad today. Didn't win. Won't win another contest. Now, what's the next one coming up Tuesday? Chivas Regal. Oh heck, man, Chivas Regal's not even that good to me. It's bland. The age of 12 years, and what did they get? Blandness. It's not harsh. It's just dull. I mean, it's like vacant, pretty vacant, you know. But still going to beat Grants. And then what's after Chivas Regal? Johnny Walker Red Label. People slag on Johnny Walker Red Label. I don't know why they're trying to like position themselves or earn street credibility or look cool on the internet. Johnny Walker Red Label is not bad. It tastes good. I don't know what these people are talking about. I guess they're trying to show off, you know. It's going to whip up on Grants. And then Johnny Walker Blue Label, I might not even bring that into the contest. So like, why even waste a serving, you know, for what? Just as a showcase of the janitor of, you know what I'm saying, the Desert Shore, you know, craziness. Anyway, janitor of lunacy, you know, it doesn't make any sense. And then the last one, we're going to close out with the Chelsea girls. We're going to close out with we're going to close out with Clan McGregor, because it's a Grants brand. Clan McGregor's their budget brand, you know. It's like $10 a bottle or less. I got to close out for $5. I could mention to to you that I went to Walmart and I got a closeout bottle for $5. Haven't opened it yet. Still working on the first one that I paid $9.79 for. But Clan McGregor's going to beat Grant's, even though Clan McGregor is the stepchild that they keep chained up in the attic, like in Jane Airhead. But, man, that's it. One pill makes you taller and one pill makes you small, and the pill your mother gave you doesn't do anything at all. I'm going to go ask Alice and Mel and Vera, and then I'm going to get anything I want at Alice's restaurant. All right, well, thanks for watching this taste challenge. And sorry it was so, well, it wasn't as one-sided as the previous ones. It was pretty dang one-sided. So, that's it. It's no secret